G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in the north of the map, we've got Puppy Paw, who is playing as the Holy Roman Empire. On the opposite side of the map, Liticor, who have we got down here?
We got 3DB coming in with the Abbasid Dynasty, the traditional civilization pick on this map. And on the other side, as you pointed out, Puppy Paw does have the Holy Roman Empire, not something that you see every day on Lipany.
Yeah, very curious decision here. So opening up with the Holy Roman Empire on this map, it's a very open map and not normally something that we would see in this situation. Normally you'd want to save this kind of, this civilization choice to, say, like a hill and dale. But I guess obviously we're in quick search at the moment, so it means that players can play whatever they like, whenever they like. So as a result, we're going to see 3DB bringing out the Abbasid Dynasty, a very safe choice, but Holy Roman Empire here for Puppy Paw instead. I don't know how I feel about it, I'm going to be honest.
Are you honest right now?
I'm being a little bit honest, but I'm taking a look at Puppy Paw's scouting path. He's managed to find up those 3 sheep already in the middle of the map. Gonna be finding his enemy's scout as well. It's always terrible when you find your enemy's scout and they've got a better position than you. So right there, B spots his enemy's scout with the 4 sheep behind him, and he makes the decision to actually head towards his base. I don't know how I feel about that, because it's like you know your enemy has just come from there. They're ahead of you. They're going to be able to take those sheep away from you. So yeah, a bit of a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, I think B spotted that Puppy Paw was coming from the right side, so for him there is no point scouting the right side anymore. Simply, he thinks that all the sheep was taken from the right, so he's sort of heading towards that left side direction, trying to see if the opponent still has some sheep at the back of the base, because one thing to note is that sometimes you're just going forward straight away with your scout because you want to find those sheep in the middle of the map, and because of that you don't really scout the back of your base. So as weird as it sounds, like, oftentimes for a player to find some sheep, the easiest way to do is just go to the back of the opponent's base. Now obviously we're talking about Abbasids on B's side, so he doesn't need those sheep anymore, or at least for the time being. He's on sheep right now. He hasn't started out with a mill on the berries just yet, but obviously having some extra sheep is always something that's valuable because it's going to give you a very nice fallback option under your town center.
Yeah, I can see that he's doing the classic Donati build here. Going to be running out of that sheep any second. I think he's just started with the 3 sheep, and he'll be heading out to the berries just very shortly after this. The timing on this is very crazy. Like, those villagers will literally be collecting berries and then have the wood to drop down the mill, but we'll see exactly how he plays it. Economic wing going to be coming up for him. Over on the other side of the map, Puppy Paw also dropping down the Archon Chapel. Not a bad Archon Chapel here. Obviously doesn't get the gold mine in it, so look, he gets the town center, he gets the berries, he gets the wood line, also gets a stone. I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10. How about you? How do you feel when it comes to rating this Archon Chapel?
It's a good Archon Chapel because it's boosting the food and wood, and in many ways it's sort of a perspective of the player discussion, whether you like to have your gold mine incorporated into the Archon Chapel radius or not. So for example, someone like Beastie likes to say that, hey, why do I need the Archon Chapel to cover my gold when I'll just be getting my gold mostly from the Ragnitz Cathedral? So
exactly.
In many ways, you basically have to make a decision here. Puppy Paw could have placed that Archon Chapel in a way that affects the gold miners and the sheep villagers, but instead he said, okay, I'll be getting most of my gold from my gold mine, so might as well drop the Archon Chapel on my food and wood. So this is a good Archon Chapel for the circumstances here for Puppy Paw.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Beastie QD hits the nail on the head there. You're getting all of your gold from the Ragnitz. Why do you need your Ragnitz, your Archon Chapel to cover that position? So yeah, I'm very much in agreement with that. So really smart insight there. But we see B has now gone for that wheelbarrow. He's also getting in his research from the House of Wisdom. That fresh food stuff's going to be coming in. But 2 villagers just gathering up stone at the moment. He's now moving out more villagers as well, so going to be looking towards a second town center, I suspect, but still got those 4 villagers over on gold. He's going to be bringing those in now. Okay, I think he's realized now, over gathering about 50 gold, so he's picked it up. But Puppy Paw also aging up. He's got that prelate inside the Archon Chapel, and he's going to be going for professional scouts here, so something that we haven't really seen in a long time, the professional scouts coming out for Puppy Paw.
There's a great return value here for him, because obviously one thing that you have to always evaluate when you're going for professional scouts is how large your chances are of actually getting a lot of those carcasses back. We're not talking about 1 or 2 carcasses, we're talking about 6, 7, 10, 15 carcasses potentially. And against the Abbasids, it's a perfect scenario. If
Yep.
you're expecting the Abbasid player to go straight away to boom on 2 town centers, you can just drop that stable, and you can pretty much take all 4 deer patches for yourself, and obviously have the Akin Chapel boosting your food eco. So you're really getting a massive amount of return value for that investment into that professional scout stack.
Yeah, we now see that B is moving out towards the deer patch. So actually going to be looking to take control of his first hunt, his closest hunt. So a pretty smart move here from him. Now, keep in mind, behind this, obviously, he's got a scout out towards the enemy base, but he's not going to be able to see whether there's research coming in. He doesn't know about the professional scouts. I don't think he knows about the stable either coming out from his enemy. But now those scouts going to be moving out towards this central location. Outposts going to be coming down for Puppy Paw as well. Now, I think it's important to remember that that these guys what are you looking at? What do you got?
Look at that, stone mine. Stone mine from Puppy Paw. Now, it could just be for emplacements, but, you know, stone mining HRE is not something that you see every day, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's very strange, isn't it? Yeah, stone mining HRE. Now, one of the reasons why you don't see that is just simply because the Holy Roman Empire, well, the focus for them is really getting up to that castle age. It's about, you know, taking control of the relics. They're not too fussed about putting down a second town center. I can't remember the last time I saw a second town center coming out of the Holy Roman Empire. Obviously, they have the Palace of Swabia, but that is literally it. That's the only other option that they normally go for. Very strange. It's got to be just for the it's got to be just for the add-on, like or the emplacement. Surely you would think, but now Horsemen going to be coming out, going to be chasing the scout away. Very interesting. How do you feel about putting the hunt or the town center down on this hunt down here from B?
It's a bit of a curious decision because obviously with the Abbasids you prefer your berries, but if you look at the berry spots, those are not necessarily spectacular for B. Now technically he could have gone to the north because there's a hunt and the berry patch right next to it, but I get the feel that he was just a little too scared going to this northern side because he probably feels like that's a little exposed. And by having this town center on the left side, he's also, to a certain extent, getting himself a rather safe gold. So, it's not a terrible town center spot, but ultimately, I think it would have been preferable if he was able to get those up on the berries.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But now take a look at what B's doing, evolving up the strategy a little bit, going for a double barracks opening. Now, obviously, you would expect this if he was going up towards castle, but there's no real sign of a castle at all at this stage. Still heavily focusing on that second age and really just looking to fight it out in Feudal. Camel going to be coming in, looking to apply some pressure towards that stone mine. You can see the villagers do actually hand in their stone before coming through. A nice little bit of body blocking coming out there. Villager does make it safely towards that outpost. We see that emplacement coming through as well. Arrow slits a little bit cheaper for the Holy Roman Empire. Only going to have to pay 37 stone for that one.
Look at that. That Camel Archer and that Scout just hiding in that little crease over there, coming back and forth. There's a weak villager out there that could be picked off by the Camel Archer. That's the target for B. He's coming in for the kill, and he's going to get that. That's a nice little pickup here. Not a disaster for Puppy Paw to lose it, but every single villager that gets killed is a nice little extra here for B.
Yeah, Puppy Paw now about to get up to that next age. You can see that Regnant's about to come through. 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Not a bad time there. But Camel Archer also under significant pressure. Those two horsemen going to be coming out. And now we'll check and see where those relics are. It's always a bit of an awkward position to check the relics when the Holy Roman Empire just reaches the third age. But we see the prelates moving out towards the north. 3 relics positioned very favorably for Puppy Paw here.
Yeah, a lot of very good relics for him. There is one on the left side that's a sort of a standalone relic. But as you said, the 4 relics are on the far right side, and the thing is that right now B doesn't have a ton of map presence. He's got a couple of spearmen, he's got 1 camel archer, but he really doesn't have the tools to stop those prelates from bringing in the relics at this point. And now, as you see, the hunt is going to be denied by the camel archers and the spearmen, but I think Puppy Paw has gotten enough return value for his professional scouts. There's a ton of carcasses under the town center that are still 350 out of 350, so he's got a lot of food under that town center to work with for now.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Now, one of the things to note is that the first relic is coming in towards that Regnitz. Now, the recent or the new patch isn't dropped, or it hasn't dropped yet. It is going to be dropping this week or next week, so that's going to be exciting to see. But at the same time, we've got a bit of a battle happening in the middle of the map. Puppy Paw not really paying attention. You can see the spears getting great connections here on all the horsemen. A little bit of a runaround. I think the Camel Archer might be able to survive this. The horseman tries to take it out, and a terrible trade right now coming through for Puppy Paw. Not the best situation at all.
Whole disaster for him. And great micro by B. He was running circles around with that Camel Archer, manages to save it at 3 HP, and really he was able to maximize the damage output of those spears. And now, this is getting very concerning here for Poppy Paw, because just a couple of seconds ago we were looking into like 2 Camel Archers, 2 Spearmen, but suddenly you're looking at 10 Spearmen coming in, and they are making battering rams straight away. Now, looking at Poppy Paw, I wonder if he sees that. I don't think he saw that ram coming up.
I don't think he does either. And I suspect when you look at the positioning of this Regnitz, it's probably not the best positioning either. Puppy Paw has put it on the front line, which means it's going to be in a very decent spot for this battering ram to just come in and get free hits down towards the south side of it. But yeah, one of the things to note is that obviously in the new patch that's coming later on in the next week, I think it's coming through about Wednesday or Thursday, is that the Regnitz Cathedral is going to be able to hold only 2 relics. At the moment, it can hold up to 3. So it means Puppy Paw is going to be able to move out onto the map and grab that 3rd relic. But once that new patch comes in, Holy Roman Empire not going to be as strong. But now we do see those knight masses beginning to build. First knight of the game coming out for Puppy Paw. He's going to be happy with that, but obviously a lot of spears coming out for his enemy. And a spear camel combo, it's very decent and a very effective counter to knights. So a smart move coming out from B, sort of anticipating that early aggression with the cavalry.
Indeed. Cheaper weapon emplacements on those towers definitely help the HRE player over here, as you see a Springald emplacement coming in on that tower, but the number is looking way better for B here. Emergency repairs obviously helping a lot. Puppy Paw for now, he's going to fall back. He's waiting for his archer mass to build up, but right now he's getting heavily outnumbered to a point where B could just commit against those archers with the camel archers, as he does right now, and he could just commit against this tower straight away.
Yeah, he's going to turn around and focus it down. We saw a knight in there getting surrounded by those spears, so he's not making a smart decision, but you can see he's jostling back and forward, and Puppy Paw definitely on the back foot. Now, is it important to remember that Wallalol happening down to the west side of the map, but I want to just talk about the fact that the Golden League is also happening this weekend. He actually did steal it. He did get the Wallalol, that's true.
Yep.
Now, the Golden League is happening this weekend, and these guys actually played up against each other in the Golden League, Lidicore. The score was 2-1. 3DB actually beat Puppy Paw. So Puppy Paw, as you know, this game is on the ladder right now. Puppy Paw looking to try and get one back, and you can see he's bringing out the villagers, taking down that battering ram. Ram going to go down. Villagers going to be able to make their way back towards the town center. They're actually just going to instead look to heal in this position. We hear that Springald emplacement going off as well. A lot of damage being coming out, and the question is, can these emplacements actually hold on? It's looking pretty good, though.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. You still have emergency repairs available, you got the archers firing, and the town center is also helping the units underneath the tower. So, really, might have been even a slight overextension by B here, because once you lost the ram, there was nothing that absorbs the arrow fire coming from the town center, nothing that absorbs the tower's Springald fire, and in the end, he lost quite a lot of precious camels. And while obviously a couple of villagers went down here from Puppy Paw as well, but we shouldn't underestimate the fact that obviously he's got 2 relics in that Regnitz Cathedral, and I think he's got a 3rd one coming in. And once he gets to Imperial Age, all those villager casualties will be basically insignificant.
Yeah, we can see that 3rd prelate bringing back the relic. It is going to go down over on the western side of the base. 3DB doing a great job of just picking that off, but Camel's now going to be probably focused down now by the knights. He's going to have to fall back towards those spears. And we see so many outposts just coming up right now for Puppy Paw. It's absolutely ridiculous how many of these bad boys he's making. And once again, going for the Springald emplacement, you can see he's really taking this Holy Roman Empire gameplay to the next level. I've never seen a player look to make so many emplacements. It is incredible.
He's realizing that those camel archers are dangerous foes. They can just dive in, pick off 3 villagers, and then disengage. And you see, he cannot take a direct engagement right now, but those towers surrounding his base, all with the Springald emplacements, those help a lot hold off those units. And we do have to highlight that those towers have the old Springalds. They still do 60 base damage, unlike the Springalds that have been nerfed. So the thing is that those towers do pack a big punch, and while most tournaments are now banning Stonewall towers, outposts, potentially fortified outposts with Springald emplacements are still allowed. And look at those walls coming up from B. Talk about a quarantine coming up.
Yeah, he's definitely looking to put his opponent into the quarantine, it seems. Walls coming up on the south side of the base, as well as up towards the north side of the base. But Knight's going to be looking to break through. They're going to be finding a couple of villagers here. So 3DB going to be losing a villager out over on that eastern flank at the same time. He's managed to make his way up towards Castle Age. We'll check in with 3DB and see how he's doing now. Sitting on 70 35 villagers. Compare that over to his opponent, who sits at the moment on 41. So he's up by about 34 villagers. Not a bad amount, but at the same time, remember, the Regnitz is going to be there trickling in gold equivalent to 22 villagers. So realistically, the villager gap isn't that big between these two players. In saying that, I still think that 3DB's position is quite decent here, but he is now going to be looking at a potential raid over on the eastern side of his base, Lidicor. This isn't looking pretty.
This isn't looking pretty either, and Puppy Paw is doing what he has to here. He's probing those berry patches. He knows very well that the Abbasid player is on those berries, so he just sends a couple of knights over there. He's almost be guaranteed to find a couple of villagers, and that's exactly what happens. As you pointed out, the Ragnitz Cathedral helps a lot to compensate for B's or Puppy Paw's villager deficit here, and being able to pick up 3-4 villagers with every raid like that is going to be immensely valuable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, I guess one of the things I want to bring up is that Puppy Paw has now managed to secure all 3 relics in his Ragnitz Cathedral.
Oh no, the villagers.
The villagers
Look
once
at that,
again.
they just went back. They just went back, and there was absolutely no guarantees for B there that that berry patch is safe. So he just sent the villagers back, lost another one there to those knights before he cleaned those up.
Yeah, Puppy Paw losing out those knights on a little bit of a dangerous route, but obviously not realizing. I mean, he could have come up towards the north. The wall's still not yet finished. But I just want to ask your opinion now, because Puppy Paw's managed to secure up 3 of those relics. 3 out of 3. That is the 3 legs of Exodia that have been, secured up for him. How does, I mean, from here, does B even stand a chance in this game? Because one of the things that you do typically see is once the Holy Roman Empire player gets to that 3 relic amount, that it's pretty much good game in most matchups.
Oh, it's tricky because one of the things that the HRA is very dangerous with is that they can use those 3 relics to get to Imperial really fast, and that's a huge power spike. You're talking about the ability to get Elite Knights, you're talking about the ability to get Bombards on the battlefield, so that's the main reason why they're so dangerous. But if the Abbasid player can find a way to Imperial himself, then suddenly the unit compositions, I think that the Abbasids do stand a decent chance against the HRE. So HRE is great getting to Imperial, but when it comes to straight-up battles in Imperial, not necessarily as spectacular as one would think. So I think the key thing here is that B should expect to fall behind in Imperial Age timing. The question is, can he sort of give himself a window to get to Imperial himself, and then just play with comparable technologies?
Yeah, that's a really good point. If 3DB can actually look to get to Imperial here, I think he might be able to keep his head above water. The main issue is obviously if Puppy Paw gets to Imperial first, he gets that villager printer out, he's going to overwhelm his enemy with regard to villager count, and he's also going to have the 3 relics inside the Ragnitz that are just going to be taking him off to the moon with regard to his gold income. So I think for Puppy Paw, he's definitely got a window here that he needs to abuse, but at the same token, as you mentioned, if B looks to get to Imperial himself, then he's going to be in a decent position, and we now see upgrades coming through for B. He's looking to get through double broad axe, he's gone through for horticulture, so getting his tier 1 upgrades, could potentially be looking at his second tier 2 upgrade as well, but Camel Arch is beginning to mass up now. He's got the veteran upgrade on this as well, and I think if we get to the late game, what is the counter to these mass Camel Archers? Because Camel Archers are incredibly effective against pretty much all units, and a lot of people might even think like, oh, you could bring the Lance Connect out just because you're playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Well, hold on a minute. Those Camel Archers have got a bonus damage multiplier against them. So, not so fast.
Yeah, it's tricky because they even debuff the enemy cavalry, and the thing that really gets them dangerous is that the Abbasids can also make siege on the battlefield. Just imagine Mangonels, Springles, and Camel Archers together. How do you even stop that? You really can't get or let the Abbasid player just build up those Camel Archer numbers. And now you got the Villager Printer coming in for Puppy Paw. He has also started voling himself up, but the big thing I like here for B is that he managed to contain Puppy Paw's expansion a lot, and he's benefiting from those berries all across the map. He's not just taking the berries that spawned close to his base, he's taking those berries that also spawned on the opponent's side, and because of that, he's got a spectacular food income, and if you look at the resource bank for B, he's not impossibly far away from Imperial himself.
Yeah, he's actually quite close, but another raid now going to be coming in over on the west side of the map. Villagers going to be retreating back towards the outpost. You can see that the villagers that were being guarded by these outposts actually made their way over towards the west wood line and made space for the villagers to jump inside that were being harassed. But now those knights are going to be heading back, and just B doing such typically B things, just walling the entire map at this point. Now look at the Mangonel mass beginning to build there. The stealth forest definitely keeping a few of those guys guys hidden. Now going to be coming out. Phalanx upgrade has come through for these spearmen as well. So 3DB looking to really push, and such a great composition he's got out here. I'm seeing crossbows, I'm seeing veteran camel archers, the veteran spearmen, and now at the same time it looks like Imperial coming through for Puppy Paw. He's going to be trying to hold on, but we don't see any elite upgrades just yet. Mangonel going to be sitting here looking to try and take out these units. Unfortunately, not going to have too much luck. Puppy Paw going to be forced to run back towards his base. You can see that the villagers are managing to evacuate, but at the same time, elite archers now coming through for Puppy Paw. So looking to go into a more infantry-based composition, a ranged infantry comp, but you've really got to admire what's coming out right here from 3DB.
B is realizing that his opponent just reached Imperial, so he needs to fight before the upgrades come in. Now, Elite Arch is already in for Puppy Paw, but how is he going to respond to 4 Mangonels in front of his base? Make it even 7 that's now coming up. And as you pointed out before, the Ragni's Cathedral is so open here. This is the prime opportunity for B to make a push in Castle Edge, because his opponent currently has no response to mass Mangonels, and even if he had some cavalry going to get close and try to snipe them, there's so many spearmen and camel archers nearby that it's virtually impossible to snipe this much siege with cavalry, and now that Ragni's Cathedral is in real danger.
Yeah, we see that outpost going down at the same time towards the south. There looks like there might be a bit of a raid coming through. Villagers going to be turning their attention towards that knight. Absolutely swipe it, destroying it there. Yeah, you can see the siege now coming through for the Ragnitz Cathedral. Culverin going to be coming out at the same time. Puppy Paw looks to actually one-shot those Mangonel. You can see how much damage comes out. Look at the Mangonels just dying one by one.
Ooh, a second one as well.
Now the Culverin looking to just take down all enemy units, beginning to focus. All of the units going to have to try and get in there. They indeed do, and it looks like we have a bit of a battle beginning to break out. Lidicor, the spears looking to get in underneath the town center. You can see them trying to fight and managing to make their way up towards that side, at the same time turning their attention towards that Regnitz. No more Culverin coming out at this point in time. Regnitz is going to go down, and the Mangonels are going to be very happily sitting underneath this town center and going to be able to take down all of the archers falling down on those farms. So much pain right there.
That's a punch in the stomach, man. I mean, the Culverin is popping out, but it's going to get instantly destroyed by the spearmen, and you really need those archers to hold off the spears, because now that half of your army of archers is wiped out, suddenly those spearmen can be a lot braver. They can commit against this one. They can start targeting down the siege workshops so you have no Culverins, and the army numbers are just looking really bad. Villagers popping out, taking down one Mangonel. That was a nice little move here by Puppy Paw. He takes down a second one, and he's going to take down the third one as well. Talk about a clutch move with those villagers.
Yeah, the consequence of moving too close to the town center definitely being demonstrated there. Keep in mind, emergency repairs could be coming out any second. I'm looking for it. I'm not seeing it yet, though. It is available for him to go on the main town center. But now crossbows are going to be trying to get up more units, and the Culverin going to be coming out on the back line. It looks like Puppy Paw is somehow holding on in this position. I didn't actually think it was possible, but he seems to be doing okay. He's losing a lot of Culverins. These guys are expensive, but at the same time, he's still got the 3 relics that sit safely on the front. He's yet to actually be cleaned up. Crossbows at the same time being chased away by these knights. Knights yet to get those elite upgrades through. And, I mean, 3DB's definitely fizzled out when it comes to this fight. And Puppy Paw, he's now sitting on 85 villagers compared to the 113 of 3DB. Still looking pretty good for Puppy Paw.
Such a good fight for Puppy Paw, and really, pulling those villagers outside the town center was the clutch move. He destroyed 3 Mangonels, and the moment the Mangonels were gone, the archers could just pick off the spears. No more spears means that the knights can be much more impactful on the battlefield once again. And Puppy Paw, he sort of lured B into his base, and he was able to potentially force an overextension here from B, and B sacrificed too much. I think B really felt like he can just finish the game right here, right now, but he wasn't really expecting all those Mangonels to be wiped out in just a split second.
Yeah, they got absolutely taken out. There were 6 Mangonels at their peak, and yeah, they all got wiped out. Villagers doing a great job. The Culverins doing a great job. Everybody really, getting their hand in the action. But now that Regnit's going to get loaded up with those relics finally. You can see the Prelate going to be coming out here. A little bit of a gold deficit means that he's had to be quite heavily on gold. Doing a bit of long distance mining here. You can see he's carrying all of this down to the mine on the other side that's on the stone mine. But all 3 of those relics getting put back into the Ragnitz Cathedral right now. So he's going to be ticking back up to 900 gold a minute with that Ragnitz.
And now we're looking at B still being in Castle Age. He's massing siege back at home, and he's got quite a lot of walls. we mentioned that he pretty much walled the entire map around here, so technically he's got a little window to get to Imperial, but he somehow needs to find a way to Imperial, because now he's facing Culverins that can just snipe his Mangonels, and without the Imperial Age range upgrades for those Springles, he won't be able to snipe them. Now, he has access to Culverins himself with the Abyssids, but obviously that once again requires the Imperial Age. He's got a ton of stone in the bank, which could also give him a nice little buffer, so we could see a castle very soon being dropped. But so far there is no sign of that. He's going to finish walling off the left side, and that's going to give him access to some gold mines. It's a nice little split of gold here, because the Abbasid player is just going to mine everything because the HRE is saying, oh yeah, I have the relics, I don't need the gold, you can keep it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's very interesting, the playstyle coming out here from B. I love the way that he's looking to take control of the map, though. It makes so much sense. He's walled in his opponent completely. He said, I'm going to take control of the map. And as you mentioned, he came out of his base. He looked to secure berries up towards the north of the map, over towards the west of the map. We saw him quite literally outside the base of his enemy. And now we actually see B, who has walled his enemy in just towards the south, now looking to put an outpost, and a gold vein is being mined with the villagers on the mining camp here. He is just all over this map.
The Mangonels and the Archers pop out of the Stealth Forest, and that Stealth Forest basically meant that B had no idea that these guys are coming in. And am I seeing villagers here? Yeah, it's 29 villagers for Poppy Paw. He is out here for blood. He wants a forward castle himself. Thinks twice upon seeing 7 Mangonels rolling up to the battlefield, though. Actually decides to drop that castle in here. Could we see B stopping this?
Very ballsy to drop it in, but you can see the siege numbers coming out from B. Still not going to be enough to deny that keep. I think with B going up to the Imperial Age, obviously already having 3 siege workshops out, it makes sense just to leave this. He's going to be able to access bombards. He's going to be able to get Culverin out, or get trebuchets out if he wants to. But you can really see the mass from B is quite huge. Interestingly, when you select the Springalds, you can see the ones that have been made on the field versus the ones that have been made in the siege workshop. Keep actually did try and go down on that front line, but it got denied. I think it got denied. I'm not sure. Maybe he just decided to replace it or place it in a different spot.
No, I think B saw the villagers moving up, and he was like, okay, he's gonna drop a castle on me, I will just counter castle that, but he saw the villagers walking back, so he's just gonna be like, okay, I will cancel my own castle. And as you pointed out, B is now up to Imperial, so roller shard triggers coming in for those Springolds. He's going to have access to Culverin's bombards. I think he managed to bridge through the gap that he needed to bridge through, and look at that castle being placed on that gold mine by Poppy Paw on the right side. That's ambitious.
Yeah, that's very ambitious. I'm curious exactly how much he knows about his enemy's position, but the villagers, how are they going to get to this? Because he's completely walled out of this. And we can actually see that B has now put a castle down in its position, in the exact same position that Puppy Paw was going to go for. So he knows that securing the gold in the late game is really going to be enabling him to take control of the fights. But I think it's a lot more, as you mentioned, a lot more important for B to be looking to secure that gold rather than it is for Puppy Paw. But Puppy Paw, by the same token, should be looking to deny it where possible.
And just look at the minimap for a brief moment, Ozzy. Look at the location of those sacred sites. I'm just now realizing all of those are on the segments or parts of the map which B managed to wall off. And because we have so many cliffs and forests spawning in the middle on this Lipany generation, it's very difficult right now for Puppy Paw to break through here. In fact, he has to basically fight through narrow choke points to get to either of these sacred sites.
Yeah, that's a really good point. One of the other things I would note is that Puppy Paw, despite, having walled up multiple parts here, is still quite open to potential raids. And in this position...
Look at that! Look at the villagers!
Where? Oh my god, they made their way all the way around.
They managed to chop through!
They made their way all the way through the chop. Oh, geez, that wasn't pretty. But Puppy Paw gonna just be looking instead to put a keep down on the other side of the gold mine here. Let's see what the reaction's gonna be out from B. B's actually looking to take the sacred site, but still we don't see any units moving over towards that position just yet. Where are the units coming out from B at this point in time?
Looks like he's going for that full siege composition. He's got 12 Springolds on the battlefield, 16 crossbows, 6 Mangonels, 2 bombards. Really just full siege composition. If you look at his population, it's 199 out of 200, so that's his entire army. We're not going to see men-at-arms, we're not going to see spearmen. It's just full siege here.
He's literally making only siege. I feel like the infantry that he's got only exists to make siege. That is it. Its sole purpose is to make siege. So very curious, but now you can see that keep is going to be unfolding. Is also getting the cannon emplacement. Villagers going down. You can hear them screaming out, crying in pain. 130 villagers at the moment for Puppy Paw. Compare that to the 110 of 3DB, and Puppy Paw has taken the lead with regard to the villager count. Obviously got those 3 relics inside the Regnets as well. Bombard's going to be moving over towards that position on the eastern flank, looking to shut this down, but he's going to need more than Bombards if he wants to take out those villagers, though. There are a lot of villagers over in this position.
Indeed, there are a lot of them. In the meantime, as you pointed out, there's a lot of army assembling in the middle as well, and they are being hidden by the stealth forest. So B has a limited amount of ideas what exactly is hiding in the stealth forest. He doesn't see the Culverins, he doesn't see the Mangonels out there, and you get the feel that Puppy Paw is trying to lure him into a trap as the Culverins now pop out. He's ready to snipe the Bombard. He's going to get it.
Yeah, so doing a pretty decent job there. You can see another keep going to be thrown up now for 3DB. So 3D, or rather for Puppy Paw here, he's actually dropping it down on a stone mine here that is happening. So looking to try and take control of that position. Springalds just trying their best to come in underneath there. But look at the amount of Mangonels just coming out right now. He's going for a full siege composition. Oh my god, the Mangonels are making it rain. Look at him trying to dance around there. I can dance all day. I can dance all day. And I mean, you're going to have to dance even longer if you want to try and survive those Mangonels. Just so much damage coming out. But Mangonel numbers have dropped down now. He's only on to 3 Mangonels. And from his peak of, what was it, 17, 26, something ridiculous, it's definitely a bit of a reduction.
It is a reduction, and he's bleeding villagers on the right side as well. Look at that. Another keep went up for Puppy Paw, and we saw gold miners getting killed. We saw the stone miners getting killed now. And B is now down to 93 villagers, so replenishing that siege is going to be more and more difficult for him, obviously. For now, he just lost a bunch of population, so he can replace that with even more siege. But, as we discussed, it's going to be more and more difficult for him to replenish those lost units.
Yeah, we can now see players actually sharing a gold mine towards the west side of the map. B having 2 villagers out there. A lot more villagers coming out for Puppy Paw. He's got 28 on that gold mine, but still struggling to hold on them in the middle. He's got his university here. Obviously, losing that keep is going to mean that the university is now in the front line, but he is really looking to push down towards this position. A mining camp being placed on a non-existent stone mine. Puppy Paw, interestingly, goes for a mining camp, and now dropping down another keep. He just continues to drop down keeps, but dropping it on a stone outcropping that's got 21 stone left in it. This bad boy is going to be completely mined out by the time that this keep goes up. So, you know, good try there, Puppy Paw, but slowly and steadily. I mean, your keeps are doing work, but at the same time, a little bit curious. Speaking of keep, though, look at the keep up towards the north. B with a great keep. Immediately, Puppy Paw going to drop it down another keep. We are entering keep wars right here. This is literally complete keep wars. Players just dropping down keeps non-stop.
Yeah, there is a ton of stone lying across the map, and when the players really have so much time to access that stone, they're going to start banking up a ton of that, and you're going to start dropping keeps left and right. As you said, here's a bunch of keeps already by Puppy Paw on the right side of the map, slowly being cleaned up by B. And look at that, the cavalry is moving in to try and take down the Bombards. Puppy Paw knows really well that he needs to keep those keeps alive, and he is going to succeed doing that, as the villagers and the horsemen will just finish off most of those Bombards. Hand cannoneers now hitting the field here for B, so he's realizing that he's got the resources. He needs quality for his army rather than numbers.
Wow, and you saw that Bombard so close to surviving in that situation, but just does go down at the very end of the last villager. So good dedication right there from Puppy Paw's villagers to the cause. But now we can see that push happening over on the central sacred site. You can see that the mass of hand cannoneers is really starting to build up right now. Continuing to focus down those units in the middle of the map. And Puppy Paw looking to try and take this position. Not having a lot of luck. He's going to be focusing down with his Springalds. Going to be looking to take out those Culverin, but the Culverin, obviously the same range as the Springalds, just really struggling to go up against them. Now the hand cannon is going to be moving in towards the Culverin, take it out, and at the same time, they're somewhat out of position. Horsemen going to be looking to capitalize. These are elite horsemen as well, and at the same time, everything is under attack. Look at the mini-map right now. There are units under attack everywhere. There are keeps everywhere. They're just non-stop. Puppy Paw is a madman.
Yeah, Puppy Paw has been slaying villagers left and right for the last 2 or 3 minutes. His opponent B is down to 67 villagers, and you get the feel that while the clock is still ticking towards that sacred site victory for B, because he still has, or does he have it? Oh no, it was just neutralized by a villager on the right side, so sacred site victory is now gone. the only chance really for B now is to try and push into the opponent's base because he's been bleeding villagers left and right. And if you look at his food income, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
Just look at the left side. Those villagers are traveling miles to just drop off 10 wood. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Oh, now the mangonels.
Mangonels now going to be going down. A little bit of a misplay right there. 3 mangonels moving past the wall. At the same time, the elite horseman just going to be on top of it. The mangonels getting the good shots off. Managed to take out a couple of archers before they do go down. It's going to be the third archer or third mangonel that goes down here. Another culverin going to be moving out. Puppy Paw sitting on 137 villagers at this point in time. Take a look at his production, Lidicor. He has got production out the wazoo at this point in time. Still got those 3 relics in the Regnitz Cathedral, but at the same time, no other form of gold income at this point in time. So 900 gold a minute flat is what he's sitting on it. Compare that over to his opponent, B, who's got 48 villagers currently on gold, but only has 80 villagers in total. So he's down about 50 villagers, not to mention the Regnitz Cathedral.
Ozzy, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
How many farms does B have?
0. Is it 0?
Well, he's just now building a couple on the right side.
It's 0.
That just tells you how sustainable his food eco is. And that's a serious problem.
Yeah, we're at 35 minutes and he is still on berries. That is absolutely wild. But that is just classic Abbasid Dynasty, baby. Abbasid Dynasty, baby. The Bombard's now going to be looking to try and make some connections on those elite horsemen. We can really see the age of keeps is upon ourselves. Upon us. But yeah, so many keeps coming out. Puppy Paw maxing out on population, but you can see he is still struggling at this point in time to actually sustain himself with regard to gold. He does have a market here. Let's check what his market rates are. His market rates aren't terrible. I don't know why he's not trading out on that market. He should honestly be selling all of his food, all of his wood. Get that gold income going, baby. That is what is important in this game.
Yep, B is gonna have to set up some functional food eco soon though, because he's at 270 food per minute. The lack of farms is starting to show now as the berries start to run dry, but he's still holding that central position. And you see Puppy Paw is also starting to run low on resources, expanding out with the villagers towards the stone mine. Also loses a couple of culverins here to the cannon fire of B. Big battle now coming up. That's a lot of hand cannoneers, and that's a ton of firepower. Looks like they're focusing down the culverins, getting rid of all of them. Most of the mangonels have also been taken down here, but the numbers are looking better and better for B here in this battle.
Yeah, this is the consequence of having too many villages, is you just don't have the military units, and once your enemy reaches his critical mass, then there's really nothing that you can do. And now we can see double mangonel going to be coming out. Hand cannon is doing a pretty decent job of actually cleaning this up, and now hand cannon is going to be coming out for his enemy as well. So Puppy Paw looking to transition into hand cannons, but now villagers going to be going down up towards this north. It's a bit of a massacre. Someone's going to have to rewrite the Geneva Convention and make sure they leave this little part out of it, because that is not pretty at all. Villagers actually... Oh, we've got a return.
Lumber camp.
Now
that's a lumber camp.
Villagers have called for backup. It is villager on villager action at the same time, a push happening on towards the main base of Puppy Paw, but I want to see what happens with the villagers. Look at them going down, Lidicor. It's a murder.
Yeah. And one thing that Puppy Paw is noticing is that his opponent is starving for wood. Like, he's chopping wood right next to his base. He knows very well that his opponent is running low on that, which means it's gonna be more and more difficult to replace those mangonels. We still have a direct push going straight into the base of Puppy Paw's base though, and as you pointed out before, the thing is that the villager numbers are very high for Puppy Paw, meaning that he can't really field that many units, and on the opposing side, his opponent also has very population efficient, high value units like the hand cannoneers.
Yeah, take a look right now at just the amount of units that are coming out from Puppy Paw. He's got 24 production buildings. But he's got 54 idle villagers. 54 villagers doing nothing right now. They are just chilling out, having a good time. Horsemen actually going to be coming in, managing to find those mangonels. So mangonels now going to be safe. Puppy Paw actually looking to make a pretty decent defense here. He's got plenty of resources in the bank, plenty of reinforcements coming out, looking to really clean this up. A lot of outposts now moving forward as well from B. B is beginning to outpost every single side of this base. Look at all the villagers going down over on the west side as well. The west side, typically known as the best side, actually turns out to be the worst side because the bombard emplacements on those outposts are doing so much work right now for B. B is completely outposting up this entire map, and I'm starting to wonder, are outposts too good, Lidicor?
Possibly. We have been hearing claims left and right that towers are just so powerful, but you don't generally see Imperial Age tower rushes out here on woodlines, and both players are starting to starve on resources. For now, B still has this strong position in the middle, but as you pointed out, his numbers are getting decimated in the middle. He had like 50 hand cannoneers a minute ago. He's down to just 5. His mangonels are disappearing, and we talked about sustainability being a problem for him. He's still yet to add a substantial amount of farms to his food eco. He's starting to run low on food, and he's starting to just simply run out of resources. He's down to 118 population, unable to replenish the lost units on the battlefield.
Yeah, this is a really difficult thing, and this is something that you called out. You said he needs to get that food economy going. He's sitting on 32 villages on food at the moment. He's only got 85 villages in the bank, and now it really looks like Puppy Paw going to be trying to take control of this game. You can see that Puppy Paw looking absolutely healthy, 200 population, starting to build up a bit of gold, now neutralizing those sacred sites as well. Keep in mind, there is a sacred victory timer that is currently ticking, but sacred site now going to be holding on for at least the moment. Mangonels moving in. It looks like some more Mangonels going to be coming through. No bombards coming out for Siege, but 4 Culverin now coming out from B. Where does he find the resources for this?
Oh, the archers just got wiped out by the mangonel fire, and this is why it's so dangerous for Puppy Paw to push this one. His opponent is just replenishing those mangonels on the battlefield with the infantry, and you just keep losing wave after wave of archers to that mangonel fire.
This game is absolutely wild. There is action everywhere right now. B is taking control of the entire map. And I tell you what, honestly, Lidicor, when I watch people like B play this game, I am thankful I am not competitive, because this looks so incredibly stressful right now. Puppy Paw is being attacked from 57 different angles, and he doesn't even know about half of them.
Indeed, there's just so many things to pay attention to, but you also gotta be very careful how you micro your cavalry, because this much siege can just wipe out a group of cavalry. Look at that slaughter coming in. They didn't even get close to the mangonels, and you just lost 15, 20 of them.
Yeah, Sacred Site over towards the east of the map has been neutralized, so that Sacred Site victory is gone. 3DB is being raided down towards the south. He's on 90 villages at the moment. And look at this siege mass beginning to build. Are we entering a new phase of the game, a new phase of the meta, where we are just seeing this mass siege composition coming out for most civs? You know, typically you would only see it in the late game coming out for the Rus, but mass mangonels very, very potent here in this situation for both players. You can see Puppy Paw going to be doing the same thing, making 6 mangonels himself, and really it's just so impressive to watch these two guys battle it out. So talented, both of them.
Get the feel that we're looking at a doctrine of just one decisive battle. You're massing that siege, hoping that you can just unleash one volley of mangonel fire that wipes out the opponent's army. Really, it's all about that. One good volley where your opponent isn't looking, and you're just going to destroy so much value that it's going to be impossible to replace. Culverins now crawling up. There is some spearman support to this one, and it looks like B is ready to make this push.
The villagers!
Oh,
the villagers on the front line, the mangonels beginning to unfold. Mangonels, look at the dodgers coming out. He's dodging him left and right. Beautiful footwork coming out right there from Puppy Paw, bringing the villagers onto the front line. At the same time, the archer's got to be careful. You can see that it is absolute siege war happening right now. Just when you thought that Keep Wars was the name of the game, it turns out that Siege Wars is going to be it. There are so many units coming out for either player. Culverin's coming out as well, and we really see this late game situation. It looks like the Culverin's actually only going to be able to two-shot those mangonels instead of the one-shot, and at the same time, mangonels on the back line going to be able to find connections with those horsemen. Horsemen going to be running in, doing a lot of damage, but at the same time, mangonels moving up from Puppy Paw, looking to secure out all of these units, all of this position, and look at the siege numbers now coming out. This is ludicrous.
He just lost all of his Culverins. The Culverins were the bait on the front line. They were the ones absorbing the cavalry charge. Mangonels wiped out the cavalry in the end, but all the Culverins are gone. So currently B has no answer to those Mangonels, and it's once again a dance back and forth. Very similar to what you would see in a Castle Age battle where you have Springald v Springald supported by some other siege. Now it's Culverin v Culverin essentially. Whoever has the better Culverin numbers will just destroy the opponent's siege and can force a good fight. And we have some trade being set up. Look at that.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Just a few traders. Just a few traders coming out right here, Lidicor. Look at the number of traders he's got. It is ludicrous.
248.
Yeah.
248 gold per trip as well. That's a lot of gold income. I wonder if he actually got the trade wing. He doesn't even have the trade wing going for him. And one thing that he also doesn't have now that we're looking at the House of Wisdom is improved processing. An upgrade which would allow his villagers to drop off more resources would be immensely valuable in a scenario where the map is running low on resources like this.
Yeah, but take a look at this now. A little bit of a raid coming in towards this stone wall. You can see B tried to get it up, but Puppy Paw going to be denying it, moving the next flank over towards this position over on the west side of the map. At the same time, a little bit of a push coming through. Horsemen going to be looking to siege down that stone wall. And now really Puppy Paw going to be in a great position and now push through on towards the base of his enemy. Keep in mind, B has got a very immobile army and now going to be looking to push in towards the base of his enemy. You can see the siege numbers coming out from him. He's got 4 bombards, 7 mangonels, and a whole bunch of hand cannoneers here. Look at the mangonel numbers for both of these players. Just they are entering into a new phase of the meta, somewhere unexplored, with the exception of Beastie Cutie solo queue search or 1v1. You guys know the quick search for Beastie Cutie? This is ridiculous. Have you watched him play Lidicore? He's absolutely crazy. He's like a mangonel maniac.
He's playing all day, so it's pretty difficult not to see him play, I must say. And it looks like now the trade is just going to be a goner. All the traders will have to just stay idle because now the archers are camping down those markets. All that investment going in there for B is going to be down the drain for a time being unless he can clean those up. He still has a powerful push coming in though, and he's crawling up with towers.
Yeah, Mangonel's going to be looking to prevent the expansion here, but not able to deny that outpost just yet. You can see the emplacement going to be coming through on it. Going for the cannon emplacements, a lot of stone costs coming out there, but 3DB now sitting on 113 villages, but a lot of them not really doing too much at the moment. Many of those are actually the traders that are now idle, so he's going to be in a tough spot, but at the same time continuing to push through, and Sacred Sites still being in control at this point in time. He's got 2 out of 3 of them, so not yet going to be contesting that Sacred Site victory. But now Puppy Paw going to be under attack on this front towards this position. He's still 200 out of 200 population at this point in time. Lidicore, I'm curious exactly what goes on from here, but you can see the Culverin now moving up. Look at the Culverin numbers coming out from 3DB at this point. He's actually going to be moving forward and taking out a huge amount of the siege. He's really looking to actually commit here. This could be the end of the game coming through because 3DB has got all of his forces in this one position, and at the same time, not all the forces are coming out from Puppy Paw. We can see that the horsemen on the front lines going to be able to try and tank up all of this damage. At the same time, all the Culverin just doing so much work, sniping out the mangonels on the back line. The horsemen running in. All of the mangonels still alive for 3DB at this point in time. The siege is overwhelming. There is just so many units coming out. At the same time, look, Puppy Paw sitting on 145 population.
He lost all his siege. His entire population was siege as well, mangonels, and he taps out. He taps out. He knows he can't stop this. He's just going to say GG. The critical mass has been reached by B, and that's it. One big push, and you win the game.
That is absolute insanity. I can't believe there's that much siege in this game, fellas. I'm going to leave in a link in the description. Go check out Golden League. It's happening this weekend. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.